Hey guys, my name is Dylan with the anime summary. Shortly after Team Highcard took down John, the police arrived with one of the officers giving an informative breakdown of John to Greg, the captain officer on the case, stating that he was the robber and also a member of the Klondike family. Back at the station, Sugar is questioning a group of ladies believing that one of the suspects is Chris, being a part of the Pinnacle Automobiles. Sugar stares intently, knowing that there's something going on at the Pinnacle Automobiles. At the police station, Sugar demands from Greg on why they aren't questioning Chris, being shown on footage from the bank security footage. Greg states that John the criminal was apprehended, and being so that the case has been resolved so that there's no need to question Chris. Sugar assumes that they aren't interrogating him because of the fact that he works at Pinnacle as an employee. Sugar heads to her computer and tells Greg that all of the cases involving Pinnacle employees have been dropped randomly. Then states to Greg that she knows something is going on behind the scenes and that she will eventually find out the cause. Sugar's fellow officers inform her that they don't have time to go through all of the old cases. Sugar knows that they are hiding something from her and won't just stand by. An officer that is interrogating John opens the door and tells Greg that he will need his assistance. He tells the detective to take Sugar instead. In the interrogation room, Sugar sits across from John, telling John to calm down for a bit. John pleads with Sugar that his life is in danger and that the Klondike family will be after him. Sugar reassures John, saying that a police officer's job is to right the wrongs and enforce justice. John questions Sugar if he can really trust her, then proposes a deal to Sugar. He tells her that if he can get guaranteed safety, that he will tell her everything about the Klondike family. Sugar tells the officer behind John to give John witness protection. Then as Sugar is leaving, she demands to know from John what Pinnacle is, and he responds, telling her to talk to Greg for more information on it. Later that night, after the Klondike charity event where they took down John as punishment for betraying their family. While Greg is chilling in the rain trying to relax from what he just saw, when he sees Ben, the leader of the Klondike family, and they stop and greet each other. Greg cuts to the chase and demands to know from Ben if the Klondike family was responsible for the attack on the Trappa Palace. Then he wants to know where all of the cards that were there have gone to. Greg is confused and wants answers for what is going on in Fourland. Recalling the incident being only a month ago, still being persistent on wanting to know what really happened. Ben tells Greg that he wants to see Fourland's complete destruction, then when leaving tells Greg to not trust Theodore, the owner of Pinnacle Automobiles. Before Ben leaves, Greg requests that they should have a drink for old time's sake. But Ben informs Greg that he doesn't drink and leaves the scene. The next day, Finn notices outside of the Highcard HQ that the police are still suspicious of them. Sugar drives her and Greg back to the police station where on the ride, Greg lies to Sugar and tells him that John has been taken out near a bridge. Sugar is shocked about hearing the news and doesn't say a word. On a yacht, the auctioneer explains to the bidders the story of Trapla when it was divided into 4 lands with the evil soldiers from beyond the sea arriving to conquer the island. Then a mage appeared alongside a boy, with the mage telling the people that the boy next to him is going to be the real king of Trapla. The decision being to have an army of 52 knights to form from the Fourland country and save the island. With the mage granting each knight a mysterious card. The knights fought for the land in honor, but it wasn't enough, eventually leading to all of them being taken out. The mage gives the boy the mysterious 52 cards to successfully defeat the evil soldiers and save the island, lastly afterwards becoming the first ever king of Fourland. The auctioneer then shows the crowd one of the legendary cards for them to get prepared to bid for it. In the interior of the yacht, Team Highcard is in a room watching the interview from Norman, who's also after the card at the auction. Wendy gets on, telling the group that Norman's secretaries being Bliss, Blitz, and Brandy are both players who possess cards. When Finn gets sick, Leo enters the room, telling the group that they will be stealing the card instead of bidding for it. Leo then states that the cards originally belonged to the royal family, meaning that what they are doing isn't wrong. Leo notices that Finn is looking worse, with Finn vomiting in a bucket, being seasick. Leo tells everyone that he will be changing the plan, leaving Finn out since he is sick, and Finn demands to be a part of the plan. The group bands around Finn, accepting him into the squad and wanting him to participate in the heist. Leo sighs and agrees to have him participate, then kneels down in front of the group to explain the plan. After Leo fully explains the plan and going through with it, Chris makes his way to the vault, being fully searched by security guards who ask for his identification. VJ from the vent above him gives him a card in the last second, and with the card is led inside the vault where they store all of the auction items. Chris grabs the card that's inside the case and he starts making his way into an elevator to the top floor of the yacht. Then once he gets into the elevator, he malfunctions the security cameras with a special device placed, snagging the real card for himself, replacing it with a replica. Back at the auction, Norman is informed by Brandy that the Pinnacles have stolen the actual card, and Bliss Blitz goes off to investigate. Meanwhile, Chris is back in the elevator going up when all of a sudden the lights turn off with Bliss attacking him from behind. Chris and Blitz start facing off intensely with neither side backing down. Leo from his intercom tries communicating to the group but gets no responses back. Then when all hope is lost, Finn replies back, still feeling sick, and says he will go check on Chris to make sure everything is okay. After Norman returns from the bathroom break, telling everyone in the crowd that the auction will continue, ending it off with the card. Norman bids on the card for $500,000, with Leo countering with $600,000. While Bliss and Chris are fighting, the elevator door opens with Finn cornering Bliss. Then Finn gets seasick and Bliss takes advantage of him, getting him in a lock. Meanwhile, Norman and Leo at the auction increase the bid against one another. Chris agrees to losing the fight, then Finn, while Bliss is distracted, he smashes his face and Chris kicks the auction container towards the stage. Finn tries stopping the cart but almost throws up and accidentally falls into place on stage. He falls into Leo's lap, then barfs, having Leo freak out about the ordeal and missing his chance to bid. Norman wins the card from the auction. Just as he's about to celebrate and grab the card, a mysterious lady in a helicopter swoops in and takes it. On the ground, Norman is upset that he did everything in his power to try and take the card, but in the end, nothing mattered. The next morning, back at the High Card HQ, VJ is watching on his phone the news reporting on the incident at the yacht. While the group is sitting down, they assume that the girl that stole the card was a part of the Klondike family. Meanwhile, back at Norman's office, he's mad that his victory was ruined. Then gets upset that he sees Bliss nowhere to be seen. Brandy informs Norman that he took one of his paid leaves for the day. Norman recalls that his kids had parent day at school and vows to himself that the next time he faces someone, he will win every time. In the afternoon, we meet a girl by the name of Chelsea, a player who possesses a card. Chris is standing by, complimenting her on her looks, then she starts laughing and is shocked about the pickup line. Finn from the stairs within the subway walks up towards Chelsea to try and grab the card but gets pepper sprayed in the face instead. Chelsea knows that they are after her card and plays it. Then she uses her special ability, being Love Connection, sticking both Chris and Finn's hands together and runs away. After chasing Chelsea to certain events trying to get her to undo the spell, they sit on a park bench extremely exhausted, running around for 3 days without any sleep. Finn suggests to Chris that they call it a day and get some rest for the night. Chris tells him that he has an important date the following day and that they will need to finish the job before then. While they are both arguing on what they are going to do for the day, Jake, one of the customers, sees them fighting and notices that they are holding hands, assuming that they are dating. Chris and Finn run away from Jake, wanting to avoid the situation. After the following night where they decide to sleep and call it, they make their way to the main part of town where Chris meets his little sister, Michelle. Finn is shocked that his date was actually him talking to his sister, and Chris tells him to just go with it. They head into a small shopping center to shop for clothes and other goods, then when they are eating ice cream, Michelle starts coughing. Chris asks her if she is okay, and she replies saying that she is fine. When Michelle excuses herself to the restroom, Finn tells Chris that he is a really good brother in front of her. Chris thanks him for playing along in his little act and informs Finn that he hasn't told her anything about being in High Card. Chelsea appears behind them and states that Chris is a sad man for lying to Michelle. Chelsea agrees to tag along with them the following day, and she starts getting closer to Michelle on the beach. While they are walking back up a flight of stairs to go back up to the pier, Michelle falls to the ground coughing up blood from her mouth. Chris yells at Chelsea to undo her magic so that Chris can save Michelle, and does so. Chris rushes Michelle to the emergency room where he tries to go into the room to help Michelle. Chelsea uses her spell to tie herself together with Chris, telling him to calm down. They sit next to Michelle's bed and the doctors come inside asking Chris if they can have a chat about Michelle's condition. Chelsea removes the spell binding Chris, and outside the room in the lobby, the doctor tells Chris that Michelle's condition has gotten a lot worse than before. Chris returns back into the room telling Finn and Chelsea that Michelle will be fine. But later in the hallway, Chelsea knows Chris is lying about her health, and Chris admits so. He tells him not to worry about it, having been through a lot in his life. Chelsea, seeing the realness of Chris, tells him that once she sees something special from him, that he will be able to have her card. Finn is having a dream about his previous life and household being in flames. Then just when the Black Knight attacks him, he wakes up from the nightmare on a bus sweating. The next day at night, Finn heads back to the orphanage to celebrate Lindsay's birthday. All of the kids at the orphanage wish him a happy birthday, giving him gifts along with Finn giving Lindsay a new apron to wear. In the kitchen while Lindsay is making chicken for the kids, Finn pulls out his phone revealing that he has enough saved up to save the orphanage flat out. Lindsay realizes that since he just started working that his job is something dangerous, telling him that after tonight that he would like to never see him again, not wanting Finn to be in any more danger. While they're singing happy birthday to Lindsay, Bobby appears at the party seeking revenge towards Finn. Finn starts fighting Bobby, trying to protect all the kids and Lindsay while Lindsay evacuates the kids from the building. Bobby explains to Finn that Ben doesn't trust or respect him anymore due to losing to Finn for that card on the road, wanting to fully destroy Finn for the embarrassment. The building catches on fire with Finn noticing Sam, the boy he was talking to earlier that just started living at the orphanage, running by. He gets to the boy, escorting him out to the exit with Bobby blocking their path. They make their way onto the roof with Sam jumping off onto the safety net held up by the other kids. Finn launches a forceful strike at Bobby, knocking him into the building and finishing him off. But surprisingly, Bobby gets back up, revealing that he possesses 2 cards, combining the both of them for even greater strength. Finn recalls past trauma for when he was a kid, imagining Bobby as a dark knight, and starts panicking. Bobby lifts him up with one hand, then with his new magical powers, he sends them both further down back into the building. Inside, Bobby makes fun of the fact that Finn had to go through a similar experience from when he was a kid. Then out of nowhere, someone launches a missile into Bobby, fully taking him down for good. The person in the distance turns out to be a lady who launched it from her window. If you guys like what you saw, be sure to subscribe, like the video, and we'll see you in the next video. Hope you guys have a great day. Peace.